should be... Oh, we need FD. Nope, not Hilda. There we go. Okay. Welcome, Brambleberry. Thanks for dropping by. I just got everything set up here. So we are doing Skyrim, or Relics of Hyrule Storytime in Skyrim. And we're doing the Fall of Lorule, as well as Hilda stuff. So... we have the Fall of Lorule, Volume 1 through 6. Fall of Lorule Unknown Page. We have Hilda's Epitaph, which is essentially Volume 7. And then Confession and Proposition. And I forget which one. I think Confession is first. Yeah, Confession is first, Proposition is second. So... we're just going to start at the beginning, go on until we reach the end, and then stop. So what I'll do is I'll read the Fall of Lorule volumes one by one, and in between I'll sort of explain what's going on. I have a glass of water, 6 volumes to go through, plus 3 other books plus an extra page. So it's going to be... Oh! Ravio's letter. Ooh, wait. Ravio... No. Did I actually add that? I did. Okay. Okay, let's get Ravio's letter as well. That is brand new. And that one would be... I forget where that one kind of falls in it, but we'll get to that when we get to that. It will be kind of late. Alright, so... if people are not already aware, the Fall of Lorule, you find it in random places, like where I am right now. This is the Sunless Depths, and it's a shadow pocket, which you access with the magic mirror. And the shadow pockets are, of course, dead, empty husks of what Lorule used to be. And you find chests and strong boxes and containers, and in each one there is one of 80 pages, because I went insane, 80 pages of the Fall of Lorule. And so you'll find like sort of busted up old pages, and there's text missing, so it's not complete. Like this one says he closed it, I don't tear, so there's stuff missing, and then if you collect enough of them, then you can reform the books. And there are 6 volumes, plus Hilda's Epitaph and then some other stuff. So we're just going to start at the beginning. And there's a lot of references in here. There's a lot of stuff that I'll go over between volumes. Volume 1, here we go. Let me get a good background. There we go. Volume 1. The Fall of Lorule, Volume 1, The Last Light of Lorule. I'm going to get my notebook ready so I can jot things down in case I find any typos. I realize the microphone is right there, so you probably just heard a lot of clunking around. Alright. I need a better writing utensil. A marker is not going to cut it. Here's a crazy idea. A pencil. Alright. Fall of Lorule, Volume 1. The Last Light of Lorule. Until he extends the circle of his compassion to all living things, man will not himself find peace. Let me just look this up really quick. It is Albert Schweitzer. Oh, God. I realized who opens the whole volume. Okay. How are you, Princess Hilda? I am well, Yuga, enjoying the warmth of the sunlight. How are you? I am well. I just now came from the village. Absolutely idyllic. I'm nearly finished with my painting of the Queen as well. Some small touches, and it will be complete. Very good, Yuga. I am interested to see your newest painting. You will, Your Grace, all in due time. I don't know how you can stand painting, Yuga, my guard said. Ravio, I scolded. It's so boring. Ah, and what sort of hobbies do you busy yourself with? Yuga asked quizzically. Archery, horseback riding, sword fighting, all that sort of thing, Ravio said. It all takes a... Text missing. Everyone has their interests, Ravio, I said. Oh. Text missing. I'm not offended, my boy, Yuga said. And as her grace said, we all have our own interests. Have you been busy? Not at all, Ravio said. It sure is boring around here. No bandits, no beat, whatever that is. Text missing. My boy, Yuga said, this peace is what all true warriors strive for. I was... So something... it looks like bandit attack or a desperate bandit, you know. So Ravio seems to be waxing disappointed that there's not more going on. He wishes that there would be like a bandit raid. As a scintillating conversation, Yuga said, but I must go now and speak to the king while we still have light. Just remember, my boy, you are here because you proved yourself worthy of the position. You ought to be proud. And if you need excitement, perhaps you could do some sparring with her grace. She may need to learn to wield a weapon of her own. You taught me how to hone my skills in magic, Yuga, I said. That's plenty enough for me to take care of myself. Of course, Your Grace. Until we meet again, Yuga said, leaving my chambers. After a moment, Ravio spoke. He doesn't like me, does he? He asked. Yuga is not one to dislike people. He means well, I said. If you say so, I'm always on his bad side, and he pounces if I say something wrong. I never know what I said wrong. Maybe he feels protective of me. He has been court wizard for as long as I can remember. You just have to trust him. I wish I could, Your Grace. Sorry, I'll be quiet. Oh, Ravio, don't. I was interrupted by an explosion. I rushed to the window and looked into the courtyard. A plume of smoke was rising from the southern gate. Ravio, come with me, I said, running out of my room and down the hall. I saw guards quickly making their way to the southern gate. Another explosion shook the castle, larger than the first, or else closer. We rounded a corner and peered out the windows as we rushed past. The southern gate was cloaked in smoke. Flames wreathed the hole that was once a portcullis. Guards lay on the ground, dead or else unconscious. Monsters lay with them. Your Grace! Return to your chambers, called a guard. Where is the king? I called back. I don't know, Your Grace. Please, return to your chambers. He ran in the opposite direction of us. Hilda, Ravio said as we rounded another corner. I think. But he stopped speaking as we stopped running. A horrid beast with one eye stood in the hall, carrying a crude club formed from a log. Around it, bodies of guards, rubble, and blood. Hilda, Ravio said, we need to go. The beast looked at me with brutish contempt and snorted. It rested its club on its shoulder, looked down and picked up a guard's corpse, then reared back and threw the corpse at me, the guard's helmet flying off as his body collapsed and slid across the bloody floor. I dodged the corpse, and Ravio took the opportunity to charge the beast. Ravio, I called, then quickly focused my concentration into preparing a spell. I only knew rudimentary prestidigitation, conjuring sparks or small flames, not enough to harm such a colossal monster. I needed to give Ravio an opening, or else he might fall. The beast watched Ravio and reared its arm back to swing its club. Monster! I shouted, and it glanced at me. I launched a weak bolt of energy at its eye, making it flinch at the bright light and irritation. It loosened its grip on its club, and Ravio swung his sword at the creature's heel, slicing a tendon. The creature cried out in pain and swung its hand from its face to Ravio, knocking him to the ground. I looked around me and saw guards' weapons. Long swords and falchions, too heavy for me to use. On one guard had a knife on his belt. I lunged forward and ripped the knife from its scabbard. I frantically applied magic energy to it and looked up at the monster, who was preparing to crush Ravio. Its eye was blinking, still dazzled by my first spell. I strafed closer to Ravio to get better aim at the monster's eye, then threw the knife, focusing magic into it to propel it more quickly. The knife pierced the creature's eye, and the log club fell to the ground as the monster roared in pain. Ravio, I said, are you hurt? A little, he said. Only shaken. He steadied himself, then rushed at the creature, ramming into the knee of its injured leg. The creature buckled and fell, Ravio dodging it, then raising his sword and plunging it into the creature's eye with all of his strength. The creature let out a short cry before falling silent and limp. We stood in the hall, blood on our hands from the creature, blood on our feet from our fellow Lolians. We heard the sounds of guards fighting creatures invading the southern gate. Ravio was silent. His eyes were closed and he was breathing deeply. After a moment he opened his eyes, a stoic expression now on his face. He tightly gripped his sword and pulled it from the creature's head, then wiped the blade on the creature's rudimentary loincloth and sheathed it. He bent down and picked a knife and sheath from a fallen guard, handing them to me. I took them and buckled the sheath around my waist. None of his armor would fit you, he said. A helmet might, but the rest wouldn't. He found a helmet and handed it to me. We need to find my father, I said, as I struggled with the helmet. Yes, Ravio said. Do you know of any magic weapons in the castle? A scepter or a wand or something. Your magic needs to be focused. A wand would shorten the casting time. Yuga has a staff. Things I recalled. And there's another staff in the Triforce Shrine. Something about rituals. I see him using it in rituals. Which is closer? Ravio asked. Yuga's chambers, the throne, or the Triforce Shrine? Yuga's chambers, I said, but he keeps him locked if he is away. Then we go to the Triforce Shrine, Ravio said as he picked up a dagger and a second sword and equipped them. If we get into another fight, stay back and focus your magic as best as you can. You did well against that monster. Help me get openings. I hope you can use the Triforce staff to channel stronger effects. Distraction or confusion is just as valuable as outright damage. Can you hold a shield? I don't know, I said. Ravio picked up a lightweight shield and handed it to me. Too heavy? He said. No, I said, strapping the shield to my arm. If it gets too heavy, give it to me and I'll carry it on my back, he said. Remember, a shield does not absorb a blow, it deflects it. You can use the edge to fight back if you need. Let's move. This way, I said, and we began our trek to the Triforce Shrine. Be ready, Ravio said. These are not ordinary creatures. I am ready, I said. Wait, my father, we still need to find him. Yuga is with him, right? Ravio said. He is at least on his way. Yes, I said. Of course, my father is safe with Yuga, and you are safe with me. I am sworn to protect you, Hilda. When this is all over, Ravio, you will be rewarded for your bravery. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. And that's the end of Volume 1. So a few things to point out. Obviously, there's a lot of text missing. And the tone rapidly shifts. So let's go to the very beginning. A lot of text is missing, and I chose to keep it that way. There's some minor restoration that happens between finding the page and restoring the book. The books have a little more text than the pages, and I might adjust how much they have, because some of it is obvious. There's no way to know what that is, but some of it you can tell. But at the beginning, it sort of echoes the beginning of the Wand of Gamelon. And I did that deliberately because I wanted it to feel like light and, silly. Not really silly. Light and, like, not really... Nothing bad is happening, It's not like... It's light. And the idea is that Lorule has lost all of its light. And this is the last light of Lorule. So, Yuga... at first he seems like a good guy. But I want to point some things out here. I am nearly finished with my painting of the queen. That's what Yuga says. This piece is... And that's a direct quote. My boy, this piece is what all true warriors strive for. I must go now and speak to the king while we still have light. Perhaps you should train, do some sparring with her grace. She may need to wield a weapon. Until we meet again. So, like, not Ravio, Yuga, there's some double meaning to pretty much everything that he says. And also, another thing to point out is the fight that Ravio has with the Hinox is, takes a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild and how you fight Hinoxes in that game. Alright. Volume 2. Volume 1 also kind of touches on possible origins for the Peasant Sword. Volume 2. Fall of Lorule, Volume 2, Embers Creep. Where we have strong emotions, we are liable to fool ourselves. That is from Carl Sagan. I know that for certain. Yuga, father! He is hurt, your grace. Give him space. Father! Hilda. I am here, father. Yuga. Yes, sire? No. Stop this. He is fading, your grace. No. Don't. I won't, sire. I won't let this devastation continue. You have my word. Hilda. Don't. Yes, father, I am here. She won't leave you, sire. Trust. Yuga. She will, sire. She can trust me. Ravio. Yes, your majesty. Protect her. Protect Hilda. Protect Lorule. Yes, sire. The enemy cannot be destructed. And then I assume... Well, we can assume that the king also says, don't trust. Yes, sire, the enemy cannot be trusted. Ravio will see to that. Yuga. Good night, my lord. As my father breathed his last, he looked at Yuga, then looked at me. His eyes were filled with sorrow and defeat. He closed his eyes and shed a final tear before his body relaxed and he passed away. I began to weep, holding his body, my head on his chest. Your grace, Yuga said, I am sorry, we do not have much time. Give her a moment, Yuga, Ravio said. The king is dead. Hold your tongue. Something. king, her father, your ruler, is dead. You can't give Hilda even a moment? The queen is missing and may still be alive. We must find the queen, Yuga said. We cannot wait or undue blood will spill. What killed him? I sobbed. A monster, your grace. I sealed it, Yuga said, motioning to a painting resting on the ground, face down. You sealed it? Ravio repeated. How? Your grace, we have no time. We cannot risk being... My father is dead, I cried. I cannot be argued with or ordered about like a child. I need to fight for myself. We are going to the Triforce Shrine. I want the ritual staff. I need some sort of weapon I can use properly. Very well, your grace, Ravio said. No, Yuga said. Ravio bent down and picked up my father's corpse. Something... a proper funeral. So Hilda wants a proper funeral for her father. What if we are attacked? Yuga asked, picking up the painting from the ground. He is coming with us, I ordered. Move. Of course, Yuga muttered, and we continued our journey to the shrine. At the base of the shrine. So something happened at the base of the shrine. They're at the Triforce Shrine now. I moved to the shrine's altar and idly touched the ritual staff, tracing the edges of the 4 tetrahedra at its end. The king is dead. Something's going on. We have lost many good men, sir, a guard said, but the monsters retreated. Something fight in case they come again? Yes, very wise, Yuga said, his brow furrowed. However... Suppose the monsters return and seek out the Triforce Shrine. We would be ready for them, a soldier said. Yes, I said, looking up and gazing at the 3 braziers of the shrine. We would be ready. I gripped the staff and turned to my people, the staff in my right hand, pointing upward. Too much blood has been spilled today. At dawn, we must prepare for the monsters' return. My people had fear and hope in their eyes. Your Grace, Yuga said, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Truly, I do. But we must be cautious. If the creatures are after the Triforce Shrine, we must ensure that the Triforce is safe. What do you propose? I asked. Legends tell of ancient heroes of Lorule fighting great evils. In one legend, the god king Lawless split the Triforce into 3 pieces, emotion, knowledge, and willpower, and trusted those pieces to 3 heroes to guard them in times of calamity. Well, I don't know the extent of this onslaught. I believe it would be in our best interest to summon the Triforce, split it, and entrust those pieces to 3 people. What if the monsters kill those people? A citizen asked. Would they get that piece of the Triforce? I imagine so, yes, Yuga said. So we would have to be sure a bearer of the Triforce piece would be able to handle the burden and powerful enough to protect it. Who should... something... I will carry a piece, I said. We can't be sure my mother is alive. I may be the only one left in the royal family. The Triforce was entrusted to us as its protectors, so I should carry the burden. Hilda, steward of Lorule, will carry a piece, Yuga decreed. Does anyone else feel the courage to hold a piece? Ravio should carry a piece, someone said. Yes, he's the princess's bodyguard after all, someone else said. Ravio looked at me gravely, then looked away. Perhaps I looked back severely. I will do it, he said quietly. Good, Ravio, sworn protector, protecting even further, very wise, Yuga said. Well, I suppose I ought to carry a piece as well. I can't very well suggest it. Then not step forward. Unless, of course, someone else wishes to carry a piece. No, you do it, Yuga. You're so good at magic, it would be safe with you. Very well then, Yuga said. It is settled. Ravio, Hilda, and I shall carry pieces of the Lorulic Triforce. Now comes the summoning. Hilda, simply concentrate and focus your feelings, and the Triforce will appear. I nodded, glanced at Ravio, who gazed back at me with worried eyes. I turned to the shrine altar, pointed my staff toward it, and closed my eyes, concentrating, focusing. The still air in the room began to stir, and I felt powerful energy ripple across my skin like electricity. The energy grew and grew until I felt as though I could not control it. Then suddenly the energy stopped, and I felt one final push of air before me. The air settled, and I felt warmth against my face, and a golden light opened my eyes. The Triforce shone in all its glory, illuminating the room. Its 3 triangles were perfectly aligned, the bottommost tip of the bottommost triangle just barely touching the altar. I felt peace and resolve gazing at it. I heard voices behind me, but they sounded muddled and far away. It was as though the Triforce and I acknowledged each other and understood each other. I could feel it gazing back at me. I reached out to the upper left triangle and touched it. Its warmth coursed through me, and for one glorious moment we were one. Then I felt it vibrate and cool. The pieces came apart and began to glow and shimmer. Suddenly the pieces flew apart. One piece flew toward my face and made me flinch as it phased through me. I suddenly felt my mind become clearer and sharper than I had ever known. I looked to Ravio as a piece phased through him. His eyes grew wide and he fell to his knees, then buried his head in his hands. Yuga held his arms out to welcome his piece, and it phased into him, the glow dwindling as a smile on his face grew wider. The light in the room dimmed. It was silent. Ravio was weeping. I walked something beside him. Ravio, I whispered. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I'm so sorry. Ravio, why, Ravio? I asked. Why are you sorry? It should never have come to this, Ravio said. My boy! This was a triumph, a great success. Not only are the pieces safe, they will give us boons that will help protect us and protect us and them against these monsters. You sound sure that they are returning, Yuga, I observed. I merely meant that if they come back, Yuga said, his smile faltering slightly. Our stewardship is temporary, of course. I need to rest, Ravio said, trembling. I need time, please. We will stay here tonight, I said, and if they do return, they will face the wrath of a brighter dawn. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. So there's a pattern. Each volume, almost every volume ends with her saying, so say I, Hilda of Lorule, which is what she says in Link Between Worlds. Okay, so, backtracking a little bit. So Yuga mentions heroes of Lorule, past heroes of Lorule, and he mentions the God King Lawless. So Lolian refers to Lawless or Lowless. I guess it would be Lowless. The God King Lowless, who's essentially a counterpart to Hylia. However, Lowless may or may not have actually existed. But he does mention emotion, knowledge, and willpower. And those are the 3 aspects of the Lolian Triforce, or as he refers to it, the Lorulic Triforce. So in the Lorule lore books, Lorule, the demonym of Lorule is Lorulic. But there's also Lolian, which is a separate demonym. So Lorule will use Hyrulic and Lorulic. Anyway, I digress. Hilda volunteers. Ravio reluctantly volunteers. She uses her staff, so she uses Hilda's staff, the classic tetrahedral thing. And the golden light. So Lorule's Triforce is gold when it's in Lorule, and when it's not in Lorule, it's black. Because Lorule is the shadow of Hyrule. And I put this sort of like this perspective of what the Triforce, like the presence of the Triforce, that it has this sort of soul-like presence. The upper left triangle is the Triforce of knowledge. Because you have the standard Triforce, the Hyrulic Triforce. Power's at the top, wisdom is at the bottom left, courage is at the bottom right. So the inversion of that is the Lorulic Triforce. The counterpart to wisdom is knowledge. Counterpart to courage is emotion, and the counterpart to power is willpower. So, based on the descriptions, Ravio looked to Ravio as a piece phased through him. His eyes grew wide, and he fell to his knee, then buried his head in his hands. So he got the Triforce of emotion. And he's like, I need time. He's weeping. So whenever it's consistent, whenever the Triforce of emotion is obtained, the person who obtains it is overwhelmed with emotion. So the Triforce of emotion makes you just more attuned, makes you more empathetic, and just makes you like... it heightens your emotions and makes you feel emotions stronger and makes you able to sense other people's emotions. The Triforce of knowledge makes your mind clearer. It's not like wisdom. Knowledge, it's just sort of like you know things, which is evidenced by like with in the game, in Relics of Hyrule, the mod, if you have the Triforce of Knowledge, then it unlocks a bunch of recipes. But another thing with the Triforce of Knowledge is it's partly because like knowledge is facts, wisdom is the ability to like connect the facts, but knowledge is like you pick things up very quickly. The Triforce of Knowledge makes you pick things up very quickly. And so, you sound sure they're returning, Yuga, I observed. Either that is Hilda just being Hilda and being able to pick up that. Or, it's the Triforce of Knowledge. Yuga got the Triforce of Willpower. And so, that makes you, like, locked in to what you're doing. And basically, like, nothing can sway you from your goals. And it makes you very steadfast. And that was his goal. Yuga is pulling the strings, if that's not obvious. Yuga's trying to pull some strings, and he's trying to get his way. Also, welcome to the stream, Junyara. We just finished Volume 2 of The Fall of Lorule. I'm going to go to a different shadow pocket. Let's see here. Lorule. Let's do Village. We'll do Volume 3 next. Making good time. Alright. That looks good. I have that in the background. Alright, Volume 3. The Fall of Lorule, Volume 3, Deflagration. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. I am looking up who said that quote. Plato is the source of that quote. It is a fine painting, Yuga. Thank you, Your Grace. I did my best to capture her likeness. I hope she is safe, wherever she is. Your mother is a strong, capable woman, Your Grace. I am sure she is safe. Yes. I must return to my duties. The castle must be fortified, as per the king's request. Of course. Thank you, Yuga. There's still much to do. You will have to thank me later. Good luck. Yuga left and I was alone. Ravio was just outside the door, ready to enter at a moment's notice. I peered out of my window at the sunny sky, the groups of people working to rebuild and fortify the southern gate. With my father dead and my mother missing, I was the steward of Lorule. I felt the burden of responsibility. Each decision was mine, and each success and failure would fall to me. I turned away from the window and gazed at the painting of my mother. I looked at her face in hopes that her soft gaze would comfort me. I wished you were here, Mother. I wish you could give me some advice. I wish you could tell me that everything would be fine. I'm afraid. I don't know if I can be the person Lorule needs. I sighed and closed my eyes. When I opened them, it seemed as though the image of my mother had shifted somehow. Oh, parenthetically, the Triforce of Knowledge also makes you very observant. So keep that in mind. Her expression had slightly changed. I looked closer, but only saw the streaks of paint and the shimmer of the glossy varnish. It caught the light in a peculiar way, like light off the surface of a lake. I turned away from the painting and looked at my room. I took one step toward the door to speak to Ravio when I suddenly collapsed. A bright flash had blinded me, and I felt a splitting headache. As I held my head in pain, I saw a bright white and heard a deafening chord, like 1,000 orchestras and choirs performing in unison. I squinted, peering through the light. I tried to block the deafening sound from my ears. As my eyes adjusted to the intensity of the light, I saw a faded image of a field, a castle unlike my own, rivers, forests, and a mountain with a ring-shaped cloud above it. In the window of the castle, I saw a woman with a worried expression on her face. I could see her clearly, despite the light, despite the distance. She looked at me, peered into my soul. She called to me without speaking. She closed her eyes and the light extinguished. The sound ceased. I was left alone in the dark. I was blind. All I could see was pitch black. But then my eyes adjusted to the dark, and I saw my chambers. I saw Ravio standing over me. Your Grace, he said, I heard what happened. What happened? I heard you fall. I saw something, Ravio, I said, jumping to my feet. I saw another kingdom, a woman. She was trying to warn me. I don't know. Your Grace, Ravio said, be careful. I don't want you to faint. We must find this kingdom. You and I, Ravio. There must be a way to get there. Your Grace, Lorule needs you. You can't... No, this will help Lorule. I feel it. I know it. I'm sorry. I'm not making sense. Do you wish to cancel the audience today? Ravio asked. No, I said. I'm fine. The audience will continue. My mind wandered during the audience. Yuga explained the state of the kingdom to those in attendance. Reports were given of other monster attacks throughout Lorule. Sympathy was given for the death of my father, for the disappearance of my mother. She would be found, they promised. She would be found, they promised. But I could not focus. I kept thinking about the kingdom that had flashed before me, and the woman in the window. My mind held to that image. I could see her clearly once again, somber and wise. Hilda, I heard her say. Hilda of Lorule, come to us. Find the mirror. Come to Hyrule. Hyrule, I murmured. Mirror. Hilda! Come! Hilda, your Grace! My trance broke. Yuga stood before me. Your Grace! Welcome back. One final visitor and you can rest. Yes, of course. Apologies, I said. Who is... The man kneeled, clad in black armor lined with beige cloth that bore color lines. He had a long nose, olive-toned skin, and blazing red hair. Well, shit. He raised his head and looked at me with golden eyes. His gaze was overwhelming, almost painful. Your Grace, he said in a deep, rich voice, one that commanded and controlled. His gaze never broke, nor did mine? Nor did he ever blink. Okay. I have traveled very far to be here, he continued. I am honored to be in your presence. Thank you, I said. What is it that you request of me? I am interested in the magic, legends, and myths of your kingdom, he said, rising to an immense height. And so I will be working with Yuga. He has requested my presence. Yes, your Grace, Yuga said. I am on the verge of something grand that will change this kingdom forever. It is with his help that I can complete my work. What is your name, sir? I asked. I am Ganondorf, king of the Gerudo. Now then, Yuga said, ushering Ganondorf away, we have much to discuss. The audience has concluded. I rose to my feet. Ganondorf continued to stare at me for a moment before he finally broke his gaze to speak to Yuga. Thank you all for coming, I said to those still in attendance. Lorule will be safe. You have my word. I returned to my chambers and looked at the painting of my mother. Oh, Mother, I am not ready for this. Something was wrong. Ravio, I called. Ravio entered and came to my side. Yes, Your Grace? Ravio, was that there before? I pointed to a mass of red paint on my mother's chest. I don't know, he said. I don't think... Hilda, look at her face. I looked at her face. Her eyes were closed, her head tilted. No, I said. She slowly opened her eyes. No, I exclaimed, and took down the painting. Mother! I looked at Ravio, then ran out of my chambers with the painting and my staff. Hilda, he called, following behind me as I ran to Yuga's chambers. I pounded on the door. Yuga! No answer. I pounded again. Yuga, open this door! Ravio put his hand on my shoulder and gently moved me aside. He stepped back and rammed the door, throwing it open. Yuga was standing with Ganondorf in front of a large dais inscribed with unrecognizable symbols. Ah, Hilda, Yuga said. What a surprise! What happened to my mother? I shouted, showing him the painting. You noticed, Yuga said. Very good. There is nothing to be done now. Surely she has succumbed to her wounds. Release her now, I demanded. Very well, Yuga said and waved his staff. The painting began to glow. My mother's image shimmered and shifted, and I saw her lean forward. As she leaned, she emerged from the painting as she was coming through a door. Her image changed from a flat picture to her full body as she crossed the frame, and she fell from the painting, bleeding and pale. Mother, I said, tossing the empty painting aside. You will find her quite dead, I'm afraid, Yuga said. Mother, I sobbed, cradling her lifeless body. I suppose this means you are queen now, Yuga mused. But we will not have time for the coronation. He turned to the dais and began speaking words I did not recognize and waving his staff in patterns. The room soon turned a sickly red color as a vortex of magic formed on the dais. You have done well, Yuga, Ganondorf said, approaching the portal. Yes, my lord, Yuga said. He concentrated, holding his hand out to Ganondorf. A triangle, the Triforce of Willpower, rose from it and passed to Ganondorf, absorbing into him. Ganondorf began to laugh. He looked at me with triumph and pride, and his laugh grew stronger. Ravio suddenly charged. With one swift motion, Ganondorf cast a ball of yellow light at Ravio, knocking him to the ground. Ganondorf then silently turned to face the red vortex. I rose and glared at Yuga. What have you done? I trusted you, I cried. Your Grace, really? Yuga sneered, a grin on his face. All I have ever done is in the interest of Lorule. You will see, in time, that this is all as it should be. Darkness will come, Lorule will be cleansed, and all the wrongs from our history will be righted. We have lost our way, and it is time to start over. Ganon will bring that renewal. He focused again and aimed his staff at the vortex. It began to intensify. Ganondorf looked on, a wicked grin on his face. No! I aimed my staff at the portal and concentrated, determined to counteract his magic. The vortex swirled and roared. Lightning shot from it. The light brightened and deepened. Yuga began to laugh maniacally, uncontrollably. He spoke and shouted and screamed, but his words had no meaning. I poured every bit of strength I had into my staff, but the vortex grew stronger and larger. It glowed with red fire and smoke. The room grew hot. A great claw emerged from the vortex, wreathed in red fire. I held on, trying to stop the vortex, but to no avail. A limb emerged, then a shoulder. I backed away. A torso, a head, a maw of gnashing teeth, a boar-like face. Enormous, growing. The beast swung its claw and cracked the ceiling. It swung again and struck the floor. Its other arm emerged, and it... hello? Oh, there we go. It gripped the dais, growing further. It filled the room, broke the walls, shattered the very structure of the room, of the side of the castle, opening it to the outside. Each piece that broke from the room became embedded in its fiery skin. It blazed so brightly that the red tinged magenta. Smoke billowed from it and red mist enveloped it. "Glorious!" Yuga exclaimed, tears streaming from his face. "I have done it!" The beast turned its great head to face Yuga and looked at him with contempt. It then turned its head to face Ganondorf. I saw the grin on his face fade into an expression of realization. He looked at me with disbelief. "Ganon!" Yuga shouted. "The greatest of all! I am your guide! Take me with—" But Yuga was interrupted. The beast had impaled him with his claws. It opened its maw and devoured him. I saw fire erupt as his body was incinerated. The vortex slowed and dropped intensity, and I lost concentration, falling to the ground. The vortex ceased swirling and vanished. The beast roared and shattered the dais, absorbing its pieces. It continued to grow, and though its legs had not emerged from the vortex, fire burst from its hips, and legs formed, engulfing stones and debris. Ganondorf backed away from the beast. I was frozen in fear. "No," I whispered. "No." The beast looked at me. "Death. Ash." "No." The beast roared and reared back. Suddenly the room was spinning. Ravio had picked me up, slung me over his shoulder, and was running. I felt intense heat and saw bright red light, and heard stones crumble and shatter, the very air hiss. "Run! Go!" Ravio shouted to guards and soldiers we passed. "What? Shut up and run!" Another roar and crash. "Gods!" a guard said. "By all the gods!" Wait, no time, run!" "What is that? Don't fight it. How is that possible? I don't want to die. Help us, help!" A sudden shift, intense heat and light as fire shot past us. Screams. We ran for what seemed like hours until we were far from the castle on a secluded hill. Only then did Ravio drop me. We sat on the hill, hidden behind trees, and stared at Lorule Castle as it burned. The true scale of the beast became apparent as it rampaged through the castle town, razing buildings and slaughtering innocents. It was pure rage, evil, hatred, malice. "What have I done?" I wept. "What have I done?" So that's kind of like the climax of one of the two. That's a turning point in the story of the Fall of Lorule. I'm very proud of Volume 3. So when I was poring over how to incorporate Breath of the Wild content into Relics of Hyrule, I thought to myself, Calamity Ganon is untapped potential. There's something that I have to do with Calamity Ganon. And I thought to myself, well, Lorule got completely annihilated, and the original implication was that Alduin did it. And I thought to myself, what if Alduin wasn't responsible? What if it was Ganon? And what if Lorule had to deal with two Ganons rather than just one? So Ganondorf was missing from the last Great War of Hyrule for a very long time, and it wasn't until late in the war that he actually appeared. So where was he? He was in Lorule. What was he doing? He was summoning Calamity Ganon. So Hyrule has to deal with Alduin. Lorule has to deal with Calamity Ganon. So when Ganondorf appears, okay, there's a few things going on. There's a lot going on in this book. It's also mostly complete. There's a lot of text that's present, not a lot that's missing. So obviously she has a vision of Hyrule, and Zelda is speaking to her. And the idea is Lorule is the realm of darkness. Hyrule is the realm of light. And that doesn't mean that Lorule is bad, Hyrule is good. It means one is one type of energy, and Lorule is another type of energy. So there are two different types of energies. And Lorule is like Hyrule's shadow, but they're two sides of the same coin. Now, when you peer into Lorule, it looks dark. Partially because it frickin' got riggedy wrecked by Calamity Ganon. But if you went from Hyrule and looked into Lorule, it would look dark because it's a different kind of energy. But if you did the opposite, it would be Lorule into Hyrule, it's blazingly bright. So the idea is Hilda is used to the energy of Lorule, and so when she sees Hyrule, it's blindingly bright, and her eyes have to adjust. Her mind, her essence has to adjust. And then she comes back to Lorule, and she's blind for a moment because she went from the Hyrule energy to the Lorule energy, and she has to adjust. Now, of course, Ganondorf comes, and he's boop, 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 boo, here I am, and he echoes Ocarina of Time. So at Ocarina of Time, you look through the window and you see him kneeling to the king. This echoes that. There it is. But from sort of the throne's perspective. And then Yuga sealed the Queen of Lorule in a painting to buy himself time so that he could summon Calamity Ganon. And Ganondorf helped. What was that? And I helped. Yuga, we summoned Calamity Ganondorf. And I helped. That's something like a Hamburger Helper or something. It's some sort of old commercial. Anyway. Now, another thing that happens is Hilda makes a bad choice. Now, the Triforce of Knowledge is not the Triforce of Wisdom, so you know things, but you don't always apply them the right way. Knowledge is not wisdom. So, she's trying to stop Calamity Ganon, so she is pouring strength into her staff, but the problem is Ganon is, of course, the avatar of power, and pouring strength into your staff, and that would make the vortex more powerful. So she's trying to focus, like, anger and, like, sort of negative emotions into her staff, and that actually feeds Calamity Ganon. And Ganondorf sees Calamity Ganon and realizes that he's a lot more powerful than he was expecting. So he looks at Hilda with disbelief because he realizes that Hilda helped summon Calamity Ganon. So Hilda kind of made things worse. Also, Calamity Ganon talks, but I made him only speak in, like, one-word sentences. And just, like, really, really nasty stuff, you know. He's not nice. He's kind of a bad influence. Okay, let's go to a different place. That's, I believe, if it's not the only, it's one of the only lore books that ends with something that isn't So Say I, Hilda of Lorule. Let's go to the bay. The seething bay. Okay. Volume 4. Now, we summoned Calamity Ganon, but wait, there's more. Because the Fall of Lorule doesn't just touch on Lorule. The Fall of Lorule is a really great cross-section of the Relics of Hyrule, really. Okay. Volume 4. Fall of Lorule, Volume 4, Folly and Ignorance. Look at how a single candle can both defy and define the darkness. I believe that's Anne Frank. Yep. Oh! The single candle quote is fake. It's misattributed. It's misattributed. What? Hold the phone. It's misattributed to Frank. Okay. There's no... Okay, it's not Anne Frank, but it's someone else, and we don't know who. I might change that quote then if it's not, like, has an attribution. Anyway. How do we go on? What do we do now? Do we live in fear? Do we try to unify the kingdom? But how? Where do we go? We must stop the beast, somehow. I told Ravio of my vision, and we sought out the mirror. We could not venture close to the castle, lest the beast destroy us. Without Yuga's research and knowledge, we were searching blindly for the mirror. We traveled from village to village, spreading word of the calamity, and tending to the fearful and wounded. As we traveled, slowly gathering supplies and rumors, we saw more wounded people and received increasing suspicious glances. One young man we met had skin missing from his hand and arm. I healed him as best as I could. It was the shadows, they said, the hungry shadows. Don't go into the shadows. Rumors about the mirror? No. Somehow seemed to be getting darker. Patches of shadow that never faded, no matter how bright the sun was. Clouds that never parted. At times, the sun itself seemed dimmer. Have you noticed the sun, Ravio? I have. Why do you think it looks like that? I don't know. Stuff happens. They find a tower. Terrible, horrid tower, shrouded in dark clouds, lit by roaring fires. We saw crowds of people gathered around it. As we came closer, we saw a figure standing high in the tower, addressing the crowd. Ganondorf. And fight we will, he was saying. This calamity shall not signal the end of Lorule. We will persevere and triumph. With you by my side, we... Oh, my friends, look, we have guests. He motioned, and the crowd turned. Their pale, tired faces stared at us with hollow expressions. Hilda of Lorule, the princess who abandoned her kingdom when they needed her most. Come to, what, repent? Pick up the pieces? How can this inexperienced neophyte monarch hope to rule such a damaged kingdom? She could not even see that her court wizard was scheming behind her back. The crowd scowled at me. Wow. The crowd scowled at me. He was working for you, I shouted. He was working for me. Ganon laughed. And what is your proof? I saw you. Ravio saw you too. Ah, Ravio, the loyal bodyguard of the princess, Ganondorf mocked. How could he speak to reason if reason meant disobeying her? You are lying. My people don't listen to him. He is lying. And how can they believe you, Hilda of Lorule? You disappeared. They thought you were dead. No, I said, tears beginning to well in my eyes. I couldn't. The beast was too strong. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop Yuga. Yuga! Tell me, how did the calamity enter this world? You know, it killed Yuga, but not you. You were there. I was not. You lie again, Hilda. No, I cried. I tried to destroy it. I tried to close the portal. Hilda, stop. Ravio said. He's trying to trick you. Hilda of Lorule, Ganondorf called. Summoner of the great calamity. This is your queen, the harbinger of death. Follow her, and the calamity swallows the kingdom. Follow me, and by my power you will live forever. Liar, I shouted, and shot a beam of energy from my staff at Ganondorf. He let the beam hit him, and collapsed to the ground silent. The crowd turned to me with shock on their faces. Go, Ravio shouted, grabbed my arm, and pulled me toward the tower. The crowd was slow to react, but eventually we had hands grabbing at us and voices shouting at us. My own people attacked me, fooled by Ganondorf. Traitor, they shouted. Liar, murderer, tyrant. And Ravio pushed people away, shoved them with his shield and the pommel and flat of his sword, never harming, only stunning. I held firm to my staff. Miraculously, we entered the tower and managed to close the gate behind us. We don't have any choice, Ravio panted. We have to find something. The mirror. Anything. We have to move quickly, I said, and we began our search. Our search seemed to last for days. We scoured the tower, sheltered in isolated rooms. We slept in shifts. Hunger and thirst became our enemies as we avoided minions of Ganondorf. Some rooms held oppressive darkness that we dared not disturb. We opened the door to one of these rooms, only to turn back and be ambushed by several of Ganondorf's minions. The Master will... So something happens, one creature, and it ultimately threw it into the room of darkness. A look of pure terror flashed on its face before it disappeared in the darkness. We heard it scream for a moment before being silenced. Its skull rolled out from the room of darkness mere moments after it had been enveloped in shadows. The final creature looked at us with fear in its eyes and turned to run, but Ravio snared it. What is in that room? Ravio demanded. We don't know, the creature said. Hungry shadows. Anything they touch is eaten. They don't like the bones. Something empty, full of light. They entered another room. They found the top of the tower. Empty and full of light. A large organ stood at one end of the room. At the other was a doorway to a balcony overlooking the countryside. An intricate symbol was engraved on the floor, pulsing with light. We carefully, slowly entered the room and closed the door behind us. I hurried to the symbol on the ground and analyzed it. There's powerful magic here, I said. Ancient magic. Where's Ganondorf? Ravio asked. And why wasn't that door locked? I looked up at him from the floor. Yes, I said, standing. That's the balcony he collapsed on. This room is empty, Ravio observed. It was made just to house this... This isn't right. This must be a trap somehow. Yet Ganondorf isn't here, I said. It's as though he never was. Do you know what kind of magic is on that symbol? Ravio asked. Is it the trap? I kneeled by the symbol and sensed its magic. It's incomplete, I said. It's divided, but it also seems wrong, like it doesn't belong here. I feel a connection, a link. Uh-oh. Nothing. There's nothing. So, Ganondorf is being a demagogue, and he's convincing, he's convincing the people of Lorule that Hilda is evil. We all know he's lying, but there's also some other possibilities. It's a different Ganondorf, which is unlikely. It's not a different Ganondorf. A hologram, or he frickin' used a portal in the floor. Spoilers, it's the latter. And he pretended to fall when Hilda shot a beam at him. So this guy with the skin missing from his hand dipped his hand in a hungry shadow. The hungry shadows are inspired by Doctor Who. And to an extent, having two Ganondorfs is also kind of inspired by Doctor Who in a little bit, very subtle way. This demagoguery, just the twisting, the outright lying, is like, it's taken from history. Things like that have happened in the past. But anyway, they find the portal, and at some point, you will be able to enter this tower. So my plans for future updates, leading up to version 6.7, at some point I'm going to add the Tower of Hera. Oh, wait, no. Maybe it won't be... Well, maybe. The Eastern Palace... This might end up being the Palace of Darkness. But this is a tower that's... I'm planning to actually integrate into the mod, so that you can, like, actually see this. But, like, the plan is that there's going to be the Palace of Darkness and, like, the Eastern Palace. And it's a dungeon that's in Lorule and Hyrule at the same time. So you go through part of it in Hyrule, and then you can't progress, so you have to flip to Lorule and progress there, and then pop back. And then, so you have to, like, zigzag between Lorule and Hyrule. And this would be part of it. Alright. Volume 5. Fall of Lorule, Volume 5. Final Sunset. What is grief, if not love persevering? And that is a quote from Vision, from, I believe, WandaVision, Marvel. Volume 5 is not 100% complete because a lot of it takes place in Hyrule, and so a lot of it was damaged, more so than other books. I was blinded. I could hear voices and footsteps. I stood, ready to defend myself. It must be her, as Zelda predicted. Can you see? Hilda, can you see? I cannot see, I said. Your eyes will adjust. Come, Hilda, wait, my guard, Ravio was with me. If he appears, something, Zelda. Where he was. We found a portal of some kind, but not Ganondorf. He is biding his time, Zelda said, and you must return to Lorule before the calamity takes it. We need your help. We need help, I exclaimed. I cannot defeat the calamity alone. You will have Termina and Mask of Terrible Power. Find it, use it wisely. So Zelda's telling her to go to Termina, because there's a link to Termina. This is another quote. Take from me this cup, for I do not wish to drink its poison. No one knows the darkness another holds. Just random thoughts. I was from the fog. He was a ghostly walking corpse with one glowing red eye. His hip held a rusted sword, and his head held a rusted helmet. He was translucent aside from his decayed armor. He stopped and gazed upon us. Before I could speak, we heard a distant call, a loud sound, deep sound of singing. A voice just as deep answered with two more in sorrowful call and response. An enormous pair of legs emerged from the fog. A creature who seemed to have no body to speak of, only a great head, arms, and legs. It sang a heart-wrenching tune of falling and rising notes as three more giants emerged from the fog, each accompanying the chorus. They sang with deep regret and pain, with music as there never has been. Music that could never be written for fear of killing its richness. Who are you? I finally whispered, tears in my eyes. The ghost gazed upon me, deep sorrow on his face. We are the guardians of Termina. As you saw, we now guard the ashes and embers. We sing for its rest. I'm sorry, I said. I wish I could learn from you, but I have no time. My kingdom is threatened by a terrible beast, summoned by Ganondorf. The ghost bristled, and the four giants looked uneasily at each other. His lust for power has no limits, the ghost mused. Not content with raising one kingdom to the ground, he seeks to raise another. Why is he doing this, I asked. What threat does Termina or Lorule face to him? No threat, the ghost replied. He pursues power and domination, and by prophecy I must face him. Then face him, I pleaded. I will stand with you. Come with me through the link to Hyrule. End this destruction. The ghost hung his head. The 4 giants murmured. I cannot waste any time trying to convince you, I said. Zelda sent me. This made the ghost raise his head. To find Majora's mask. She said it would be of use to me to stop Ganondorf from destroying Lorule. Zelda, the ghost whispered. Zelda does not know. Majora's mask has already been taken from Termina. It has lost its power, so it would be of little use to you. Even if the power were to be restored, it is a thing of evil. It was only through immense effort that I was able to tame it. The fierce deity's mask, however, can be used. I will grant it to you. Good. Come with me and wield it against Ganon, I commanded. Why do you hesitate? Where is your courage? The 4 giants rumbled, and one stepped closer to the ghost and kneeled beside him, gently resting a great hand on his shoulder. Very well, the ghost sighed. I will try again. I could not save Termina, but perhaps I can give Hyrule some time. We ran to the woods. I ducked inside and began to search for a path to Hyrule. I became frantic, searching under every bough and in every opening. Then I saw it, a great log that seemed infinitely long. Here, I shouted, beckoning to the ghost and the giants who loomed overhead. Suddenly, I was pulled to the ground. Ravio rolled with me and shielded me against an immense blast of fire. Oh, here's Jerkface. Ni nis volnun nol zu mafarak hun, said a deep, terrible voice. Ravio lifted me and pulled me away as an immense black dragon emerged from the burning woods. It glared at Ravio and at the ghost. Grind hilal, hin al, hin des los oblan. Pa fen oblan, rumbled the dragon. A great hand swung down from above, striking the dragon. Another swung down and grasped it. The dragon roared and began to fight the giants. The ghost began firing arrows at the dragon's face. Run, Ravio shouted. I can fight, I shouted back. No, said the ghost, looking me in the eye before turning to face the dragon again. Not with this beast. Ven mulkik? Ven mulkik. I think that's an R. Is that an R? Ven mulrik. Well, it's either a K or an R. Ven mulrik. Let's say it's Reek. Shouted the dragon. The forest became shrouded in mist. Ravio, the ghost said, tossing a golden mask to Ravio. This is the fierce deity's mask. I have used it against this dragon before. It may give you time. What? Ravio said. No, wait! A gout of flame erupted from the mist. The ghost dodged it and pulled me to cover. Listen to me. Hyrule is on the edge of eternity. This world will be dust. It is on its last cycle. As I have failed to save Hyrule, so have I failed to save Termina. Come with us, please. You can help us. There is still hope. Ah! Ravio screamed, falling to his knees and raising his head to the sky. I heard sickening cracking sounds and covered my ears. Ravio seemed to grow taller. A teal suit of armor flashed into being, replacing his armor. A long teal cap appeared on his head, gauntlets on his hands, boots on his feet, and an enormous sword on his back. In a moment, it was all over. Ravio paused, then stood, looming over me. He opened his eyes, and they glowed pure white. His face was marked with the patterns of the mask. His dark hair had turned pitch black. He raised his sword and launched a disc of blue energy from it. I saw it flash as it struck the dragon in the mist. The dragon shouted in pain. Ni sulek ni sronit di. He nos losalo. I know what is coming, Hilda of Lorule, said the ghost. Cling to your hope. May the gods have mercy on you. Wait, please, I wept. Please, why are you... The shade shoved me into the great log and turned to face the dragon with Ravio. I stumbled, but then ran as fast as my feet could take me. I heard heavy footsteps behind me, great wings flapping, growls, roars, and laughter. I ran through endless darkness. I felt a great wind surge over me. I felt the darkness closing in, and felt myself fading into nothing. Suddenly I was in Kokiri Forest again. I fearfully looked to the sky, but saw only stars. I sat still, drawing panic breaths, listening for signs that the black beast had followed me. Then I heard rustling in the bushes as well as chattering. A red creature emerged and saw me. Our eyes locked for a moment. It cocked its head and reached for its war horn. "No," I murmured. It hesitated, then rose the horn to its lips and sounded the alarm. It began to shout for its brethren. I jumped to my feet and readied my staff. A horde of creatures began to emerge from the woods. They jabbered at me unintelligibly. One approached and addressed me in gibberish. "I mean you no harm," I pleaded. The creature sniffed me, pawed at my cloak. It peered into my eyes, then shouted to its brethren. They knocked their bows and readied spears and began to close in. Suddenly, a beam of blue energy struck a throng of them, killing them instantly. The creatures panicked, looking around for the source of the strike. Ravio emerged from the path to Termina, launching beams of energy with the fierce deity sword. The monsters began to flee, and Ravio stoically slaughtered them. I looked into my hands at the fierce deity's mask. I could feel... Wait. That can't be right. That's an error. She's not holding it. Okay, so that needs to be in a different spot. Okay, I need to look into that. Anyway, after the final monster fell, Ravio stared at its corpse and the corpses of its brethren, his back to me. He looked at his hand and paused. He said something unintelligible in a strange, deep voice. "Ravio?" I said. He looked up, still facing away from me. "Ravio, you can take the mask off," I said. "It's all wrong," Ravio said. "It's all wrong." He hesitated, and his arms seemed to quiver. He then suddenly reached up and pulled the mask off his face. A flash of white light, and Ravio was normal, kneeling on the ground with the mask in his hand. Something, as well as the drag, she said. "Tell me, Hilda, did the Guardians of Termina, he was reluctant, something, Ganondorf, when I mentioned you, tell me, Hilda, did the something, and then Hilda says, Guardians of Termina, he was reluctant to face Ganondorf. When I mentioned you, he seemed to awaken from a deep sleep," or something like that. Zelda began to weep. At first, only tears slid down her face, but soon she was shaking. She collapsed in her throne, and Impa rushed to her side. "We know now. We finally know something came for." "Yes," I said, "we will save Lorule with this mask, and I am sure of it. When Lorule is saved, I promise you I will make it a bastion for your people and anything you hold dear, anything you wish not to fall into evil hands. Thank you, Zelda something. Termina is lost, as Zelda has said," Impa said. He has doubtlessly severed the connection between... Return to Lorule. I will contact you. Do what you must." Something about before, he said. So Ravio's talking. "Ravio, no, don't. It was just the Triforce of Emotion, right? You were scared, and the Triforce of Motion made that stronger." "I still am. This mask, it's too powerful. We only need to use it once, just once. We will defeat the calamity, and when it's all over, we will destroy the mask. So say I, Hilda of Lorule." So there's a little bit of a jumblies. Volume 5 needs a little work. Volume 5. Fierce Deity Mask. Salvation Line. Out of order. Because she should say that after Ravio has taken it off. It probably needs to be later. Fan service. Okay, so this is just this is the most fan fiction-y that the Fall of Lorule gets. The frickin' Alduin fighting the Hero's Shade and the four giants, and Ravio putting on the Fierce Deities mask. Let me quickly look up Dovazul translator so that we can translate what Alduin is saying. So he almost went to Hyrule. He almost did. And it sounds like Alduin went back into Hyrule after he fought the Hero's Shade. And it sounds like Termina is completely blasted. Like, you can't even get there anymore. Okay. So let's see. All right. So he needs wohnen null zu ma Ferak Hoon. Oh, I misspelled Mafarok. Jeez. You cannot see me forever. Oh, you cannot evade me forever. You cannot hide from me forever. So that's what he said. You cannot hide me. Hey, you cannot hide from me forever. Wait, what does Hoon mean? Probably hero. Hero, yeah. You cannot hide from me forever, hero. That's what he says first. Grind hin al. Hin des los oblan pa fen oblan pa fen oblan. Grind, we meet your destruction, meet your destroyer. Your destiny is to die. Everyone will die. Everything will die. And then, oh yeah, it is run. Okay. Then Mulreek, that is the his special fog shout, which translates to wind, strong, gale. So that he does the foggy do. Okay. Need Sulake Nis Ronit D Hin Nos Hin Nos Los Salo. And I think that's it. No power. nothing, no power, no strength can rival mine. Your attack is weak, ineffective, poor. So basically he's a braggy boy. So, Hilda meets Zelda, says, we need help. Zelda says, go to Termina, get Majora's Mask. And she goes to Termina, and meets the hero Shade. And the hero Shade is like, sorry, Majora's Mask is busted. Majora's Mask, the last use that he used it for was to open a link to Termina. But I have the Fierce Deity's Mask, which I've used to fight Alduin. So here you go, use the Fierce Deity's Mask. And he when they go back, Hilda mentions the hero Shade, and Zelda is like, gosh dang, well, at least we know that he did die. He's trapped in Termina, and we know now. So, I'm going to get a little more water, and then it's the finale, and then we'll have some backup. We'll have some epilogue. Okay. Woo! All right, sorry, no. I'm a little proud of the Fall of Lorule. The Fall of Lorule, Volume 6, Knowledge, Willpower, and Courage. Reminiscent of another lore book that I'm very proud of. All right. And when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with the night and pay no worship to the garish sun. That is from Romeo and Juliet, and that is the kernel nugget of Lorule. Cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with the night and pay no worship to the garish sun. So the idea is Lorule has been split apart and, dissolved and be in love with the night and pay no worship to the garish sun. All right. Also, I have memorized this quote because it's one of my favorite quotes. I actually had my eyes closed when I was reciting that. I have a little bit of trivia about that in a moment, but I don't want to go off the rails. But anyway, we came to the entrance of Lorule Castle and rushed inside. I swiftly turned around and looked out the doors. The calamity was coming. Ravio and I closed the doors and sealed them with an enchantment. We ran to the room in which the calamity was first summoned. Yuga's staff lay on the ground. I picked it up. Ravio readied the Fierce Deity's Mask. Wait. We need to be in Lorule Castle. That needs to be in the background. Alright. We heard the roars of the calamity and the rumble of falling walls. This is it, Ravio said. The calamity burst into the room and Ravio quickly put on the mask. I fired a bolt of energy to distract it, but it stayed focused on Ravio. It swung its enormous head and tossed Ravio across the room. Then, Alexa, stop! Then it ran toward me. I cast with Yuga's staff, and magic rippled around the calamity. Alexa, stop! Leaving it unaffected. I dodged an attack. from its maw and focused my magic into a more potent bolt of energy. This made the Calamity stagger slightly. Then a bright disk of cyan light struck the Calamity and it roared in pain. Another disk. Another. Ravio sliced at the Calamity with the fierce deity sword as the beast turned and tried to attack him. Ravio quickly parried its tusk and sliced at its face. The beast tried to bite Ravio, but he dodged and sliced again. The beast roared in pain and slammed against the wall, shaking the room. I turned the portal and tried to reactivate it. Nothing. I tried again. Nothing. "The portal isn't forming!" I shouted. The Calamity swung its claws toward me, and I barely dodged them. My staff was clipped by the beast attack and was ripped from my hand. Ravio launched more beams of energy from the fierce deity sword, but the Calamity was focused on me. Death. Ash. Void. Death. All things. No dark. No light. Death. Void. Peace. No war. No pain. Peace. Void. Death. Join me, Queen of Shreds and Patches. Patches, the only two-syllable word that Calamity Ganon ever says. The Calamity began to shift and change. Its form began to blur into black smoke, and red lightning shot from the cloud forming from its body. I focused all of my magic into Yuga's staff and took aim at the Calamity. The energy from the staff struck the beast and it shimmered again. This time, however, it began to swirl and condense. It suddenly collapsed and became isolated in a painted frame embossed with the Triforce. All was silent for a moment. "Ravio," I said, looking to him. "We did it!" Ravio looked back at me with no emotion on his face. "Ravio, it's over." He began walking toward me. "Ravio, take off the mask." He raised the fierce deity sword. "Ravio!" He swung it, and a disc of light struck me, crackling with electricity. "Ravio, stop!" He swung it again, and another disc struck me. I cast from Yuga's staff, but the magic did not affect him. In response, he swung the fierce deity sword and sundered Yuga's staff. I fell to the ground. I dodged strikes from Ravio and managed to leap to my feet. I glanced at the painting that had sealed the Calamity and saw it shake and bulge. "Ravio!" I shouted. "Ravio, it's over! It's done! Take off the mask!" He stared at me unblinking and began to advance. I ran to my staff and retrieved it. He fired a disc of energy, and I quickly cast a reflection spell. It staggered me, but the beam returned to him and briefly stunned him. I ran to him and grasped at the mask, trying to pull it from his face. He threw me aside and swung his sword. I dodged his strike and backed away. He launched another disc of energy, and I reflected it to his hand. He dropped the sword, which I pulled to me using a spell from my staff. Unarmed, Ravio stared at me. I saw his fists clench and strain. He took one step toward me and stopped. With great effort, he put his hand to his face and removed the mask. He collapsed to the ground. I kneeled with him, and he held his face as the fierce deity's equipment vanished from him and the mask fell to the ground. He slumped further. "I'm so sorry, Ravio. I'm sorry." I cast a healing spell, focused as well as I could, but he did not stir. I heard a crack and looked to the Calamity's painting. The seal was starting to fail. A glowing light rose from Ravio and then merged with me. I was overcome with rage, regret, grief, fear. I cradled Ravio and wept. Another crack. I rose to my feet and took up my staff. I walked to the Calamity's painting and pointed my staff at it. "No more," I whispered, and focused every ounce of pain and anger, every fiber of my being into a spell. The room began to shake. Walls began to crumble. The painting sank into the floor, and the room darkened. The earthquake continued as I retrieved the fierce deity's mask with the intention of keeping it and ultimately savoring its destruction. I emerged from Lorule Castle as it collapsed in on itself and fell into the black void. With the Calamity gone, we only had Ganondorf as a foe. He fought using the hungry shadows and the corpses of my own people. Lorule began to crumble, and the black void grew ever stronger, ever larger. We fought for so long, but we never relented. Ganondorf never prevailed. However, his power continually grew. He fought from the shadows, sending his generals and minions, and even phantom versions of himself. We held strong, but our defenses were failing. If Ganondorf's forces continue as they have, a general said during a briefing, we will not be able to fight back any longer. I was contemplative. I knew what was to come. It is the end. We must fight for Hyrule now. We cannot save Lorule. Your Grace, my general said, we must... It is over, I insisted. We make for the tower, and we take whatever we can into Hyrule and fight to our deaths. Your Grace, we cannot. The tower is overrun. If you would use the mask... I glared at him. I saw what this mask did, I hissed. I will not have another person corrupted and torn by its power. Your Grace, we need it. Without it, we cannot hope to defeat Ganondorf. Very well, I said. I produced the mask and rose it to my face. Your Grace! The mask suddenly jumped from my hand. It fused with my skin and bone, ingrained into my flesh, merged with my mind. I felt deep, intense pain. I felt immense power. The sickening sounds echoed in my head. I felt the armor appear. I felt the sword flash into being on my back. I did not scream. I deserved this pain. Your Grace, can you hear us? Yes, I said. My deepened voice sounded distant as though someone else was speaking. I effortlessly pulled the sword from my back and looked at myself reflected in its helical blade. Alien markings on my face, pure white in my eyes. My raven hair had gained a violent tint. I felt a desire to vanquish evil with my newfound might, to bring peace, but I also felt hatred for what I had become. I focused my rage and walked out into the battlefield with my staff in one hand and the fierce deity sword in the other. The dark army was slaughtering my people, and so I slaughtered them. Crescents of blue light flashed through the dark. Beams of energy shot through the fog. Cries not of pain, but of surprise. Each poor wretch that died by my blade ceased to be. All was ash and dust and silence. All fell to the wrath of the fierce deity. When the battle was won, my people flocked to me, cheering, caressing the armor conjured by the mask, marveling at the sword. Praise be to Hilda! Praise be to Hilda! They shouted. I gazed at them and felt what Ravio must have felt. The desire for cleansing had not ceased. The power of the fierce deity was its own reward. They did not cheer for me, they cheered for the fierce deity. Why do we worship weapons? Why do we glorify war? What carnal instinct drives this infinite bloodshed? I raised the green and cyan sword and thrust it into the ground. I raised my staff and focused my rage into this. This, I shouted, my voice echoing across the battlefield, is finished. The crowd cheered, the armor glowed, and the mask began to release from me. The gauntlets fell from my arms, the hat dropped to the ground. The armor was shed. Finally, the mask itself fell from my face and fell into the mud, surrounded by its armor and sword and the now silent crowd. If anyone wishes to use the fierce deity's mask in battle, you may, I said, but it will never harm any of my people ever again. I swiftly turned, my cloak rippling behind me. I returned to the garrison, my soldiers and citizens parting from me. Slowly, Lorule crumbled into the void. Battles were waged and were lost. People vanished, villages consumed by shadows, erased from history. I do not know the fate of the fierce deity's equipment. I imagine some twisted worship of it resulted in its preservation. I care not. To trust in power and power alone when all hope is lost. To wage war with honor. To romanticize death and regard it with reverence. These are paths to oblivion. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. So, I really like that image of Hilda wearing the fierce deity's mask. And it explains why you find it in pieces, instead of all in one piece. Alexa, stop. Hilda split it. Okay. So, those are all the volumes of the volume of Lorule, Fall of Lorule. But Ravio wrote a letter that you can find in the castle. Dear Hilda, I am your knight, and I am sworn to follow you faithfully without question. But after everything that has happened, I fear I must voice my concerns. I am terrified that you are being consumed by anger and hatred, and that in trying to stop Ganondorf and the beast that Yuga summoned, you yourself will turn to evil. I have seen it in your eyes, and truthfully I have seen it in you. The fierce deity's mask carries immense power. While wearing it, I am filled with a desire to cleanse the world of evil, and the knowledge that I have the power to do so. I can see justice and injustice, good and evil, order and chaos. The fierce deity seeks out injustice, evil, and chaos to root it out, to drag it to the light and cleanse it. Hilda, when I wore the mask, I saw the monster's hearts and the evil within them, and I cleansed them. Then I saw you. I saw the evil in your heart. It took all the willpower I had to take the mask off, to keep myself from destroying you. I do not want to wear that mask again because I might use it to kill you. Please do not fall to the darkness. Do not go where I cannot follow. We must defeat Ganondorf and the beast, but we must stop there. Your people are innocent. They were fooled by a false god, an empty promise. You can be their salvation, but you must be just and fair. Do not be cruel or unyielding. If you try to control them, to coerce them, they'll rebel against you. You will become what you have hated. I sometimes wonder if, when Yuga split the Triforce, we received the wrong pieces. There must be some destiny that we have for some certain virtue, and that destiny is calling to us, but we cannot hear it. No matter what happens, I am sworn to you. You will forever be Lorule's queen, even if all is lost and nothing remains but ash and dust. Lorule will still have a queen. All I ask is that you are true to yourself. No word on whether she actually got that letter though. We also have one more unknown page. Despite everything you have done to me, I still find you a pitiable man. You choose violence, no remorse, no shame. You hide behind curses and destiny, but it is your choice. There is no divine prank, no demonic influence. You choose to destroy, and what you see of Lorule now, this is what you would control. Nothing. I pity you because as a man you can choose, and you choose to be monstrous. That is Hilda writing to Ganondorf. Alright, Hilda's confession. Shadow and light are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. I believe that is actually from Link Between Worlds. And light are two sides of the same coin. Oh, it's from Twilight Princess. My mistake. It's from Twilight Princess. I have hidden what artifacts I can. Perhaps they will emerge again, or perhaps they are lost forever with the remains of Lorule and the people of Lorule. It is my duty to remember my people. Too many of them fell because of my failures and faults. I loved my people and I tried to protect them. I tried to hold on to them, but my grip was too tight and they rebelled. Many of them went to Ganon to escape me. I am responsible for the death of too many of my own people, and for my part, I shall not forget them. So many heroes have appeared and have been lost, trying to save this doomed land. I will remember one most of all, because he was the one who came after everything had come to dust, after everything died. Is it selfish of me to have kept this sword? I have no blade nor knight of my own. This sword does not belong to Lorule, yet this is where he met his end, and this is the last thing he ever touched. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. That's Hilda's confession. Let's go to the Triforce Shrine. That's not it. For the last two books. Hilda's proposition. All cruelty springs from weakness. All cruelty springs from weakness is attributed to the Roman philosopher Seneca. We had legends, we had heroes, Lorule had hope, but all that is gone. Lorule has only me now. I think that's from Link Between Worlds. Ganon has seized part of our Triforce, but I knew he was coming. Events from the light can be seen in the shadows. Our Triforce has been split, and the pieces hidden. Fortunately, Ganon did not have the patience to search for all three. Perhaps he was drunk off the destruction of our armies, and his new alliance with hungry shadows and the corpses of my people. Be warned, Hyrule, for the Dark Lord has obtained the Triforce of willpower. He will be unstoppable in his desire to conquer your world. I offer whatever assistance I can, but not with soldiers. They are Ganon's soldiers now. They were all good people, my people. I was too weak to protect them. Lorule is crumbling, but there are still places of refuge. All I can offer to Hyrule is protection. Not of people, for blood is cheap. Ganon would return and harvest them for his cause. I offer protection for the relics of Hyrule. Will roll credits. I have hidden pieces of Lorule's last artifact and can hide the pieces of Hyrule in the shadows. Ganon's war has forced our kingdoms close together, so close they are now connected. You must simply find the links between them. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. There's one more. Hilda's Epitaph. No one is actually dead until the ripples they cause in the world die away. I think that's Terry Pratchett. Yep, that's Terry Pratchett. I write these final words as I prepare. Oh my gosh. I write these final words as I prepare myself for the grave. I feel myself fading. Zelda, I shall pass the Triforces of knowledge and emotion to you. With you, they are not lost forever and may bring balance. But know this, there is no escape. This is no nightmare. This is real. Lorule has faced calamity, so I know Alduin cannot be stopped. You know what you must do. Let my kingdom's fate be a warning. I do not want your hope. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the same fear I have. The time for hope is over. The time for action has long passed. I have done as we have discussed. Relics of Hyrule are hidden in the remnants of Lorule, deep and inaccessible. If a bright new day dawns and a worthy soul restores the mirror, then perhaps these pockets of shadow will be of use. Until then, they are safe houses, strongholds for light in the realm of darkness. Lorule will not be forgotten. If it is not forgotten, it will be regarded poorly. Oh, Lorule will be forgotten. If it is not forgotten, it will be regarded poorly. Where you were wise, Zelda, I was foolish. Where you were courageous, I was cowardly. Where you were powerful, I was weak. I resent this representation, though I know its inevitability. History does not hold high regard for failures, no matter that the odds were against us and success impossible. This is the legacy of Lorule. It is now a place where no sun rises, no sound echoes, and no hope can be found. Islands of ash and cinders frozen in endless void. I have wept the tears of the kingdom of my ancestors. I have no tears left. It is gone. It is done. However, in spite of everything, I gaze at these charred fragments of my kingdom, and a faint hope whispers to me. Secrets in the dark. Night has come. So say I, Hilda of Lorule. The end. That's all the Lorule lore. And we have 10 minutes to spare. So, Triforce Shrine. These three statues are meant to be Hilda herself. So there seems to be a lot missing. There is a lot missing. But there's the there's this strong implication that Hilda became something of a tyrant. And so there's this kind of implication of hubris that she, like, it's possible that she was an unreliable narrator, because it's a little odd for the Triforce Shrine to have, like, depictions of her. Assuming this is her. There's no indication anywhere that it is her, but, or, I mean, this could be the three golden goddesses just in Lorule form, but the fact that they're in some sort of regalia here, it's hard to know. It's impossible to know whether these are Lorule or these Hilda or not. But there's sort of an implication that she tightened her grip on Lorule to try to save it, and in so doing ended up losing the kingdom. She made a lot of mistakes, but it's also like it just might have been inevitable. I don't have any of the Triforce pieces on this character, unfortunately. Yeah. Let's see. There's a couple other quotes. I forgot to mention this. There's a few quotes in is Hilda's Epitaph. This is no nightmare. This is real. I don't want your hope. I want you to panic. That section is actually paraphrased from Greta Thunberg regarding climate change. That's a speech that she gave. History does not hold high regard for failures, no matter that the odds were against us and success impossible. That's another allusion to a quote, I believe, about World War II. That, like, a fighter pilot or something. I forget exactly. Let me look this up. That the odds were against us. Tom Osborne. Oh no, that wasn't it. Yeah, there was a quote. I feel like there was a quote, like a fighter pilot in World War II, that said something like, no matter that the odds were against us and success impossible. The most important thing here, though, besides Hilda's Epitaph being the final chapter, and just, I'm kind of proud of it because it just ties everything up very neatly. Secrets in the dark, night has come. Every Daedric prince is going to be represented in Relics of Hyrule. I'll see to it. There's some that have already been integrated. Mehrunes Dagon was pretty obvious. Molag Bal. Clavicus Vile got his own lore book. Sheogorath got a whole dungeon because he won a poll. Namira got a shield. Boethia is mentioned, and that might expand. I haven't figured out Malakath yet. Mephala I have figured out, and she's going to come in a future update. In fact, she's coming in the update after the one I'm working on. I'm working on 6.6.3.A. She's coming in 6.6.3.B. What are the other Daedric princes? Jigalag has lore coming. Azura has lore. Most of them have lore. Periite I have to figure out. Sheogorath, Mephala. Vermina is another one I need. Oh no, Vermina I have plans for. 6.7 is going to be Vermina. Hermaeus Mora has lore. He is responsible for the Ruptured Towers. Are there any I'm missing? Daedric Princes. Azura Berethia would do it. Hercene, I need to figure out. Meridia, I will figure out. Sanguine, I have plans for. And Ethelia can go suck an egg. But there's one I didn't mention. And this Daedric Prince is one that I could not figure out for the life of me. I could not figure out Nocturnal. And I was like, how do I integrate Nocturnal in a way that's true to the Daedric Prince? I didn't want to do something obvious like, oh, there's thieves and they worship Nocturnal. That's too obvious. I wanted to properly integrate Nocturnal. I think she got second. She either won the poll or Sheogorath won the poll and Nocturnal got close second. Because I did a poll saying which Daedric princes should be represented. I think Sheogorath won, and then Nocturnal got second place. And I was like, I need to pay proper tribute to Nocturnal and properly get the nugget of what her deal is. So I'm like, what is Nocturnal's deal? And it clicked in my mind. Nocturnal's deal is that nobody knows what Nocturnal's deal is. Her whole sphere is darkness and secrecy and stuff like that. So she is deeply integrated into Relics of Hyrule. You just don't realize it. This is the only book that gives you any clue. Secrets in the Dark, Night Has Come. If you do the Thieves Guild quest, which I really need to do because I have not... I've actually never done it. I need to do that quest. That's something that she says. So, the big reveal, you heard it here first. Nocturnal took ownership of Lorule. Hermaeus Mora scooped up the Twilight Realm. Azura got Midna. Mephala did something. Clavicus Vile is very interested in, shards of power and stuff like that. Nocturnal grabbed Lorule. So Lorule is preserved in Nocturnal's realm. What is her realm? I'm trying to find it. That doesn't help. What is her... She has a realm, I'm sure. Nocturnal. Lore Nocturnal. What is it? Evergloam. I think that's her realm. Yeah, Evergloam. So this is Lorule, but it's been annexed by Evergloam. So there you go. The 12 people who watched the video on demand of this will know. I'm just, as a finale, I'm going to summon the Lorulic Triforce. OB 928 C35. No, that's item, not spell. Boop. Alright. Let's summon the Triforce. Come on now. Can I get a hello? Oh, there we go. Hello. There. No. Why is the there? Oh, I need the physical pieces. Actually, wait, why don't I just do this? Help Triforce. Miscellaneous. Add item. OB3A44EF. 1. Dang it. Player.add item. OB3A44EF. F1. Ball gown. And then Triforce of Willpower, of course, is just wackadoo. 3B93. Alright, now I can do it. Bow! There it is. The Lorulic Triforce. And if you interact with it, it says Triforce. So this is the Triforce, according to Lorule. Do that little screenshot there. Nope. Hang on. Cool. Okay. That'll be the thumbnail of the video on demand when I put it on YouTube. So that is the end of Relative Hyrule Storytime for today. I don't really have any other major lore that I can read in these, so I don't know. I'll take a break from Relics of Hyrule Storytime, and I don't think I'll do it next month. It's not even time for bed yet. I have been reading lore for 2 hours straight, so my voice needs a nap. Anyway, video on demand will be out if you want to revisit it. Next week I'm going to do something. I might just play Skyrim. I'll probably put it to a poll whether I play Skyrim or Echoes of Wisdom. Skyrim will probably win, but I'm leaning toward Skyrim personally. Because I kind of want to do the Thieves Guild. And yeah, join the Discord if you're not part of the Discord. I don't know what else to say. So, thanks all for coming. Hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed it. I was very happy. I'm very happy with the Fall of Lorule lore books. I do want to expand them, and I think I might do something where you can repair them if you have the full Lolian Triforce. And you get more lore, like Hilda in Kokiri Forest, and stuff like that. So that seems interesting. I think I might do that. Anyway, That's all I got. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night, and be kind to others. Make it a good one. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs paralyze. And be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Trying to get... There we go.